Now at 5, Pittsburgh police investigate an early morning shooting. Plus, Missouri Southern announces a new partnership with KCU Joplin and
the DOJ appeals a decision by a Florida judge to appoint a special master. I'm Cristian Benavides outside Mar-a-Lago. Coming up, we'll tell you about the midnight deadline for both the Justice Department and former President Trump's legal team.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Pittsburgh police are investigating a shooting that happened early this morning. This is KOAM News at 5. Police say it happened on the 300 block of West Forest Street shortly after 2 a.m. Officers found a 30-year-old man with a gunshot wound inside a home. That man was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition. Authorities say the shots came from outside the home and that the shooting was targeted. Miami, Oklahoma police have arrested a suspect in the stranger with candy case. He's Kirk William Owen of Grove, Oklahoma. He had been on probation with a 20-year sentence for lewd molestation of a child. Now he's suspected of violating his probation. Owen was back in the spotlight due to a case out of Crawford County, Kansas, of allegedly enticing a minor. Back in July, the Crawford County Sheriff's Office investigated reports of a man in a white Corvette convertible offering juveniles bags of candy at a park in Cherokee, Kansas. Police say the man reportedly was wearing underwear and a shirt and asked the children for their home address. They believe Owen was that man. Police arrest an Anderson, Missouri man at his home in connection with a fatal crash last month. Vincent Castro, who had previously been in the hospital, is now charged with DWI resulting in the death of another, among other charges, for the August 20th two-vehicle crash on Missouri 59 Highway in Anderson. The other driver, 65-year-old David Cunningham, was airlifted to Freeman Hospital in Joplin, where he was later pronounced dead. Castro's bond is set at $500,000. Let's check in with Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be another great day for us today. Temperatures fantastic. Most of us mid to upper 80s and mostly sunny skies. You can see the cumulus clouds that kind of popped up during the afternoon hours, and those have pretty much been kind of fizzling out over the past few hours. 84 in Carthage, 86 at Grand Lake, 88 in Pittsburgh, back to 92 in Chinook, so anywhere from mid-80s to lower 90s across the region. But of course, we have 4 states Friday night football for us this evening. It looks great, fantastic weather. By kickoff, about 82 degrees, and then by the fourth quarter, we're going to drop back to about 73. But we're going to have plenty of clear skies as we go through the evening hours. We do have some rain chances over the weekend. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. The presidents of Missouri Southern and KCU Joplin met today to reinforce their partnership. Missouri Southern students can enroll and take medical field-related classes over a 3-year period. After that, they can enroll in either medical or dental school with Kansas City University. This agreement between both schools allows students to complete their education in 7 years instead of 8.
I think it's really important. These are great opportunities for students to come to Missouri Southern for 3 years, complete a degree, and upon entering Missouri Southern, have acceptance into medical school. I think that really changes a lot of the dynamic. The students work together as a cohort really well, and I think it's a great experience for them.
The agreement signed today extends the program for the next 5 years. Today marks a key deadline in the lawsuit regarding the FBI search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. It comes even as the Justice Department is appealing the decision to appoint a neutral third party to review the documents seized in that search. Reporter Cristian Benavides has more.
The Justice Department and former President Donald Trump's legal team have until midnight to submit potential candidates to be the so-called special master to review the documents the FBI confiscated from Trump's Florida home last month.
It may be that looking for someone who enjoys the confidence of both sides at this point is looking for a unicorn.
Earlier this week, a Trump-appointed federal judge approved the former president's request to have a neutral third party sift through the seized materials.
They would also have to have a background that would allow them, I think, to have a security clearance adequate to review a good deal of this material.
But on Thursday, the Justice Department filed notice it is appealing the judge's ruling. It also asked the judge to partially stay that ruling so that investigators can continue reviewing the 103 most sensitive documents seized, including ones that were marked top secret. The Justice Department argued that the investigation and the public could be irreparably injured by the pause. The Trump team has until Monday morning to respond to the DOJ's request. Also Friday, another federal judge in Florida has dismissed former President Trump's lawsuit against a group of figures from the 2016 presidential election, including Hillary Clinton, where he claimed they conspired against his campaign. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
The judge said in the ruling that Donald Trump's claims fail on the merits at every step of the analysis. The former president's legal team says it will appeal immediately. A bankruptcy judge in Delaware has approved the Boy Scouts Reorganization plan that will enable it to pay more than $2.4 billion to sexual abuse survivors. The organization owes that money to more than 82,000 survivors who suffered abuse over decades. The plan also calls for the Boy Scouts to implement safety measures to prevent future abuse. Britain's King Charles greeted crowds outside Buckingham Palace today as he arrived back in London from Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where his mother, the Queen, died. The new monarch shook hands as well-wishers snapped pictures. He also addressed his nation and the world for the first time, promising to follow his mother's example of lifelong service. Coming up, lingering health issues affecting heroes.
Tens of thousands of responders are dealing with chronic health issues decades after the September 11th terror attacks. I'm Dan Lieberman with the latest research on the long-term impacts on these patients.
And later, how hackers are easily able to get the tools they need to commit cybercrimes. Topping today's Health Watch, some monkeypox patients develop neurological complications such as brain inflammation, confusion, or seizures. That's according to a new analysis by researchers at University College London. They looked at 19 studies done prior to the current outbreak and found 2.7% of monkeypox patients had at least one seizure. So while it is rare, researchers say they've seen it in enough monkeypox cases to warrant concern. There's not enough evidence yet to estimate neurological complications in the current outbreak. New data about the effectiveness of the COVID vaccine against hospitalization. A CDC study looked at hospitalization rates from January to April when the Omicron strain was dominant. Researchers found unvaccinated adults were more than 10 times more likely to be hospitalized compared to those who were both vaccinated and boosted. Adults who'd had an initial vaccine but no booster were more than twice as likely to be hospitalized. For more than 2 decades, tens of thousands of responders have been dealing with chronic health issues after their exposure to toxic dust and debris after the September 11th terrorist attacks. Now, research is looking at other long-term impacts on these patients, including COVID-19. Dan Lieberman has more.
Michael Gullub spent 11 months at Ground Zero, first as a volunteer with his fire department. Later, the company he worked for was contracted by the city.
I was responsible for the medical care for everybody that was on the site.
Within a week or so, he couldn't stop coughing.
I had that for years until I started coming here and getting the proper medication.
Here is the Stony Brook World Trade Center Wellness Program. Thousands of responders are seen with conditions such as obstructive airway disease, asthma, cancer, PTSD, and depression.
This gives rise to a variety of susceptibility and vulnerability to being able to deal with other diseases or infections.
Program Director Dr. Benjamin Luff's latest research looks at nearly 1,300 responders who had COVID-19. Data shows patients with 9/11 related chronic conditions are more likely to have more severe infection and suffer with long COVID symptoms such as shortness of breath and brain fog.
Now that we've been able to follow these patients for as long as a year, we find about 15% of our patients continue to have problems with long COVID.
Another recent study suggests responders with PTSD could be affected by a specific form of dementia. Michael encourages responders to be monitored and get treatment.
The first few years before the program, I used to tell people when I die, put 9/11. I don't think that anymore.
And he's grateful he's still here with his family. Dan Lieberman, CBS News.
It's estimated that more than 80,000 responders are enrolled in World Trade Center health programs. Excessive weight gain during pregnancy among women with obesity and diabetes may double the likelihood of having a child who develops ADHD. That's according to a new study by the Endocrine Society. The researchers say they did not find a higher risk in this group of mothers gained a healthy amount of weight. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, what new data from Freddie Mac shows about the current housing markets.
Plus, we have some rain chances sneaking in for the weekend. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be another fantastic day for us today. All week long, we've had really great temperatures. Most of us mid to upper 80s to near 90 degrees across the region. We have partly cloudy skies right now in Seneca, Indigo Sky, Casino, and Resort, and it looks pretty good throughout the evening hours. For State, Friday night football, of course, for us tonight, and it looks pretty good weather-wise. We're going to have clear skies. So by kickoff, most of the games kick off around 7, 82 degrees, and then we're going to slowly drop back through the 70s, eventually down to about 73 a little bit later on tonight. But if you're heading out to any of the games, looks fantastic across the region. Check out our temperatures, mid 80s on the Missouri side, even some lower 80s, Cassville at 81, then a 10-degree spread. You got 91 in Neodesha. Chanute is sitting at 72 degrees. Clear skies. Outside, sitting at 85, easterly winds are light, humidity at 40% through the evening hours, 83 by 6, 76 by 8, by 10, 73, and look at that. Eventually down to about 63 degrees later on tonight. All right, on our visible satellite, you can see those little cumulus clouds popping up over the past couple hours. Besides that, there's not a whole bunch going on here in the Central Plains. We do have our next storm system, northern parts of the plains. Look at the rain, Minnesota all the way back through parts of Nebraska, and then even some tropical moisture down toward the south that we're going to keep our eyes on. So those two kind of combining up will give us at least some rain chances as we go into the weekend. All right, let's go through time. By midnight, sitting near 70, clear skies. We'll go to the morning hours, few little clouds popping up here, 6 a.m., lower 60s. Pretty comfortable. As we go through the morning hours, we warm into lower 80s by noon. By afternoon, here's 3 p.m., a few isolated little showers trying to pop up. And then as we get into the evening hours, we'll slide back into the mid 80s. All right, here's your day planner starting at 63, 84 by noon, a high of 89. Look at the wind switching around with a front south to north as we get into the afternoon. Here's 6:30, northern counties, Yates Center, Chanute, Iola starting to get some scattered showers, maybe even a random thunder shower. Here's 9:30 p.m. spreading into Pittsburgh, Nevada, Fort Scott, over toward Independence, picking up a little bit, especially in our northern counties. So here's midnight, trying to get into the metro. A little bit of rain. Rain pushes in southwestern Missouri by 3 a.m. And then we're going to start the day on Sunday with clouds, sunshine by the afternoon. And look at these temperatures. We're going to be into the upper 70s for highs, so it looks really fantastic. Now, rainfall's not going to be heavy, but we'll take what we can get. I think a lot of areas are going to pick up a couple tenths of an inch, maybe upwards to a half an inch in some spots in our northern counties, but we'll definitely take that. 89 for us tomorrow, showers tomorrow night. We start the day with clouds on Sunday, sunshine in the afternoon. Beautiful day. High temp of 79 degrees, down to 52 Sunday night. 84 on Monday, 89 on Tuesday, heating back up, but a couple of really nice days.
Yeah, Sunday in particular looks like a day to get outside if you can.
Before 325.
Before 325. Yeah. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, how hackers easily acquire ransom kits. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Terry Kropp served in the U.S. Air Force in 1967 and 68. The Quapaw, Oklahoma native was stationed in Vietnam, and we salute Staff Sergeant Terry Kropp, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, buying a home likely became a bit more challenging for many Americans again this week. According to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac, the 30-year rate rose to 5.89% last week. That's the highest long-term rate in 14 years, since just after the 2008 housing market collapse set off the Great Recession. 1 year ago, the 30-year rate stood at just 2.88%. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission has announced a Murphy bed recall. It says beds sold online under the brand names Ivy Bronx, Orrin Ellis, Stellar Home Furniture, and Wade Logan can break or detach from the wall and fall onto those nearby. The furniture maker, based in Canada, says it's received 146 reports of the beds falling or breaking, resulting in dozens of injuries, including broken bones, bruising, lacerations, and concussions. The FBI says Americans lost nearly $7 billion to cybercrime last year. More in this report.
Kellogg Community College in Michigan looked like a ghost town in May after the school suddenly shut down.
When I pulled up, I noticed there was no cars around, so I thought something was going on.
The college was forced to close after a ransomware attack seized its computer systems. The school was back online 2 days later and did not reveal if the ransom was paid, but many companies do give in to hackers' demands. A study found 46% of organizations paid the ransom, with an average payout of more than $800,000.
It's a big problem and it's not going away anytime soon.
Cybersecurity expert Scott Schober says that's because it's easier than ever to commit these crimes. A new report from Microsoft highlights how ransomware kits are being advertised and sold on the dark web, giving hackers the tools needed to attack a company.
And that's the part that's so scary, how easy it is to do.
Using a special browser, Schober showed us a marketplace on the dark web with ransomware code for sale for as little as $5.99. Payments are made in untraceable cryptocurrency.
That allows you to remain anonymous so they can't catch you. And
you can't be tracked as the buyer and they can't be tracked as the
seller.
Not
easily, no. And that's in a sense the beauty of being a cyber criminal. You can work in this underground world and not easily be caught.
Before deploying, the ransomware hackers have to gain access to an organization's network, which they often get using stolen usernames and passwords for sale on the dark web. That's why experts say it's vital for companies to use safety protocols like two-factor authentication to keep cyber criminals out. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, Metuchen, New Jersey.
An all-electric Chevrolet Equinox is General Motors' newest addition to its roster. Appearing on CBS Morning, GM CEO and Chairwoman Mary Barra said she thinks the car will change people's minds about electric vehicles. Barra said the 2024 Chevrolet Equinox starts at around $30,000 and will go on sale in about a year. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, tributes pour in following Queen Elizabeth's death. Then on KOAM News at 6, details on a planned closure of Highway 41 bypass in southeast Kansas next week. Plus, how a Southwest Missouri high school is giving students hands-on agriculture training. And it's time for another round of Friday Night Football. We're going to hear from the Carthage head coach as the Tigers take on the Nixa Eagles. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. And a lot of you preparing to head out to your local high school football game. The weather's going to be pretty nice, Doug.
It's going to be just about perfect. Clear skies across the region. Temperatures will drop back through the 80s into the 70s by the end of the games, eventually down lower 60s later on tonight. Now, majority of tomorrow looks fine. It's 85. We are going to get some showers in here tomorrow night, which we need. Plus, even though it's going to happen on the weekend, it happens at night, which is not a big deal. And then look at this, Sunday, 79, partly sunny skies. I almost want to get outside and enjoy it, but I have duties to watch my Chiefs Sunday afternoon.
Well, you have a little bit of time before the Chiefs kick off.
I do.
And then, We run back inside just in time. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.